oh boy, oh boy. You know, these are not the videos that I expected to be making about a game that I've been waiting 8 years for, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that, before we get into this video, I want to at least shine some positivity on the internet, okay? I feel like there's a big negative cloud on this game, rightfully deserving, but I want to have a little positivity and say that I have spent around 50 plus hours into the game. The game didn't record 10 of those hours, so we're going to knock it up to 60 hours. I've put a lot of time into Cyberpunk 2077, because at the core of Cyberpunk 2077, I have actually had a fair bit of fun. Despite the fact that I've been having frame rate issues with the game, which have now been ironed out because, believe it or not, I have now been running the game underneath Linux and virtual machines, which has given me better performance than running it underneath Windows 10 natively. How that's possible, it's because Linux is awesome. But we all knew Linux was awesome because Linux is awesome, but that's not the crux of the video. Now, despite me putting these many hours into the game, I have pretty much consistently come across immersion-breaking bugs in my immersive role-playing game every 3 or 4 minutes. Now, to be real with you, I'm not such a picky person. As long as they are not game-breaking bugs, I don't care.
Fuck! An app!
So it begins.
This has happened more than once. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw was an example of a game-breaking bug. One where just the quest wasn't triggering. You could sit in that section for hours on end, but the game will not progress, effectively soft locking me. But if I go back into my, treasure trove of save files, which I as a gamer make all the time, I was safe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Cyberpunk 2077 has had a rocky launch, to say the least. In fact, yesterday, this game got delisted off of PlayStation. Yeah, PlayStation removed the game entirely from purchase digitally yesterday. The only way to play this game on PlayStation is if you had this good old physical disc, which I'm actually glad that I bought because I'm a sucker for having 1.0 versions. And now I have the 1.0 disaster released, forever plastered on a fucking Blu-ray. And I am always thankful for that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about exactly what the fuck has happened, okay? Last time we covered this, okay, we talked about how last-gen versions were complete dog shit. But I wanted to just give a shout-out to the community that has genuinely pissed me off a little bit. I'm sorry to go off the rails, but I have to. Now, when I covered it, I gave a very good explanation of why this game ran like crap. It had a bunch of bottlenecks. You had a GPU that wasn't up to snuff with rendering the multiple, detailed locations in Night City. You had a CPU from the laptop eras that was outdated when the PS4 and Xbox One released that couldn't simulate the entire world at 30 ticks a second, let alone even higher than that. Hell, the game can barely render the entire world's dynamics, physics, AI, traffic simulations at 15 ticks a second. And the game had I/O problems, meaning that because you were running the game on mechanical hard drives on the PS4 and Xbox One, you weren't able to render in massive parts of the city as quickly as you would on an SSD like the PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and the PC of today's modern era. I gave very good explanations, and in fairness, a majority of the community understood it. It was good. I actually felt glad to, at least fill in the technical, issues right there. Now, there are some genuine idiots on the internet, and I guess I'll read one out. Bruh, have you played the game? It runs just fine. Sure, there's some glitches. Oh yeah? Just some glitches? But that's to be expected on a 200 gig game. This is all I need to shut these fucking troglodytes down. It doesn't matter how much your file size of the fucking game is. Warzone takes up the size of your fucking mom on a hard drive, but it's actually fairly optimized when you goddamn play it, okay? Give it credit where credit is due. It's bloated, but it works relatively fucking well. But you cannot say the same over here. People who have no understanding of technicals are actually involved in this situation more often than I care to want to see. I would like to divide the people's experience into 3 categories. One, I'm giving you Witcher 3, which is a great game, by the way. We'll get to it. This game has 3 fucking categories, okay? One, me, high-end PC gamers, which, yeah, I'm coming through bugs, but at least I'm not suffering, 15 frame, game moments or whatever. For the most part, the bugs I can live with. You've got PS4 and base Xbox One players that fuck for whatever their experience is. People are trying to invalidate it when clearly they were marketed a game for the longest time, and CD Projekt Red went out of their fucking way to make sure nobody goddamn knew what those versions of the game look like. Yeah, suddenly they're not too excited with getting a piece of shit for $60. Wow, guess what? They're in the right. They're absolutely in the right, and I'm gonna fight for them till the end of the fucking days. And then you got people on a PS5 and Xbox Series X who are like, that runs fine in my system. Yeah, no shit, dumbass. That's the same fucking thing high-end PC gamers can say. It runs good on my rig. Yeah, because you're running fucking PS4 code that's been given an unlocked fucking frame rate running on a fucking PS5 that has higher fucking CPU core counts, that has higher GPU. Of course it's gonna run better, dipshit. No fucking way. Of course it is. It's not even a fucking PS5 game. It's PS4 code literally running with an unlocked frame rate. If you think that's surprising, holy shit, you are a fucking dumbass. Take any game from the PS4 generation with an unlocked frame rate, like Assassin's Creed Unity, install it on your fucking PS5 and you're like, oh, whoa, 60 frames per second? Yeah, that's what stronger hardware does to older software. Jesus Christ, man. To give people, like, some people on the internet are actually this fucking stupid. How you dress yourself in the morning, how you manage to fucking eat without dying on a day-to-day basis, shocks me. But anyways, now that I can dial down the fucking blood pressure, because really, incompetent technical dumbasses that think they know what they're talking about on the internet piss me off more than you could fucking imagine. Now, if we go to the real meat of this situation, okay? All right, this is going to be a doozy. This is what they talked about last time, where, dear gamers, first of all, this was like hours after I made my last fucking video. First of all, we would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. Right here, I'm going to just stop right the fuck now. This is absolutely dog shit, and let me tell you why. Because you have got one of the biggest games launching, period. You have advertised it on PS4 and Xbox One. Before this game came out, reviewers, even on the PC side, were given like special footage or whatever. Some of them that I talked to couldn't even use their own footage. Hell, there were reviewers that were never given PlayStation and Xbox codes. Everyone was given a PC version of the game. Hell, I was given a review version, not for the consoles, but for the PC version of the game. It was a different build, you downloaded it through their fucking launcher, and that's how the whole world worked. This was deliberately hiding the fact that the game even worked on last generation consoles. So you didn't let anybody see what the fucking, Dragon was before it released. And finally, when it came out, everyone got to see what it was like day one. And it was so bad. If you bought this disc day one, remember, some people can't even get access to the patches. They rely on these discs to have a playable fucking game. It is not a playable game on the base systems when you install it from both of these discs onto your system. It just doesn't work. Even on a PS5 without the patches, the game is relegated down to 30 frames per second with just, I believe, the PS4 Pro enhancements. It is not a proper game on release. The fact that they deliberately hid this is some fucking shady and scummy behavior. And people that defend it, well, guess what? You're in the fucking wrong, and I don't care what you think, okay? Because guess what, motherfucker? That is shady, and there's no if and but way around that you can convince me that it isn't. Following our decision with PlayStation, this is literally today, a decision was made to deliberately suspend digital distribution of Cyberpunk 2077 on PS Store. You can still buy physical versions of the game in brick and mortar stores. All purchased digital and physical copies will receive support. So basically, you're still going to keep updating the game. You can buy the game right now in a fucking store, which, if you're a game preservist, you probably get your hands on one of these discs. It's very important. But that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, the game has been removed, okay, de-fucking listed, because guess what? Sony was not having it. What they basically said before this was, hey, if you bought the game, you're entitled to fucking refunds. And from what I'm theorizing, Sony doesn't fucking do refunds that well, too. You could probably figure out the cure for immortality before you ever get a refund from fucking Sony. And Sony decided, oh, you're going to do it it that way, we'll just fucking remove the entire game. And it's a pretty bad situation when you remove the game just before the fucking Christmas sales hit. This game is going to suffer real hard. And if you want to think that, it's not going to be a big sales hit, PlayStation is the biggest gaming console, like, fucking platform pool that you can get into. Yeah, this game's going to sell like hotcakes on PC. It made enough money to make its cost back. But if it's going to get delisted off of one full digital storefront, that's pretty fucking bad, especially when this is the only AAA game that I've seen getting that treatment. And now it's a little bit fucked up for Sony to do it, because I think Sony is a little in the wrong too. First off, with console games, you have certification, right? Meaning that the game has to be playable from start to finish before you can go gold, print your discs, and put it in the distribution chain. So that means somebody at fucking Sony must have seen how bad the 1.0 version is, and if it was that bad, why the fuck did you okay it? And then now all of a sudden you're going to delist the fucking game. There have been plenty of games that have come out that have actually harmed PlayStation 5s before. PS4s. And one of them that I can remember right now at the top of my head is fucking Anthem, that I remember was actually bricking consoles back when it came out. So now that you're delisting this, well, I hope that you start delisting every game that causes actual software to hardware problems in the PlayStation consoles as well too. Not just this because of the fucking press situation. Now, all of this said, ladies and gentlemen, does Cyberpunk deserve to get delisted? Abso-fucking-lutely. These guys took $60 from people who had no idea. They couldn't have any idea that the game was running shit, and they got an absolute pile of shit in comparison. Like I said at the beginning, I'm positive. I put hours and hours into this game, but my experience is not reflective of the majority of people playing the game. There's not many people that have the highest end rigs like I do. There's not many people that have fucking PS5 specially, or Xbox Series X's. There's a lot of people that are still relying on their PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones to carry them through one last fucking game. A game that they were also advertised for. It's bullshit for people to invalidate their experience, and I find it quite fucking I find it quite elitist that some people do that. It's really disgusting. Even if you look at a message that basically came out from inside there, Article 17, Section 1 of the Market Abuse Regulation, Jesus Christ. The management board of CD Projekt SA, with a registered office in Warsaw, hereby publicly discloses the decision of Sony Interactive Entertainment to remove Cyberpunk 2077 from PlayStation Store until further notice. The decision was undertaken following our decision with SIE regarding a full refund of all gamers who had purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via PS Store and want a refund at this time. All copies of the game previously purchased digital on PlayStation stores remain available for use by their respective buyers. So yeah, it's not PT where they're going to immediately remove the game. If you bought it, you can have it. If you want to refund it, feel free to do so. And this is where I'm going to tell you, definitely please refund the game, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those situations where, like I said, this game came out in a very fucking broken, playable, very broken state, and it's going to take months for CD Projekt Red to fix it. And it goes beyond the bugs. CD Projekt Red has to actually go beyond these bugs and start fixing the core tenets of the game. We all look at shit like the wanted system basically being non-fucking existent. And I understand people are like, it's not GTA. It doesn't have to be. It's an open world, living, breathing city. The next generation of living, breathing, open world cities. If you're not going to get a wanted system in there, you got to fucking add it in. They got to fix their garbage collector system. I mean, have you seen how you can scare NPCs in the game literally look away and back, and the fucking NPCs literally all disappear? It feels, when it's janky, like some fucking shit Unity game that somebody slapped on. Yeah, the graphics look good, but everything about them is kind of janky when you look at how shallow the fucking world is. Now, I would recommend you get the refund, and to be honest with you, because I'm not a fucking game journalist and I actually play video games, I'm going to shout out some video games, not that I'm getting paid for these or anything, but to show you guys some other games that you can pick up right fucking now. There are games that deserve your $60 fucking dollars. You can pick yourself up some goddamn Yakuza Like a Dragon. You want a good JRPG with a lot of shit to it? Yakuza Like a Dragon is pretty much where it's at. Hell, you want to get that Cyberpunk fix? Man, don't even fucking come at me, because if you look at Deus Ex, it is currently available. I would pop down $21, 21 bones for Deus Ex Human Revolution, one of the greatest games of all time. You could play this game right now and realize just what Cyberpunk 2077 was trying to hit. This is a great game. Hey, fuck, you want what really brought me back together with the love of life? Deus Ex Game of the Year edition, okay? This game will bring your fucking parents back together. I promise you. It is that good of a game. I could make an 8-hour video on Deus Ex, and I might be stupid enough to consider I might be scripting it out right now. You never know, dude. I'm always doing something random. That is a game worth getting. Hell, even Deus Ex Invisible War is worth getting over whatever the fuck we got. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wild, wild situation. And to be real with you, I want to keep remaining positive, okay? I know that this video has been kind of a fucking roller coaster, but positivity is one of the things that I want to eschew on this channel. I don't want to hate Cyberpunk 2077 because it's the cool in thing to do. I feel like that's a pretty cringe thing to do in any case, but hating Cyberpunk 2077 is not my goal, okay? And it shouldn't be anybody's goal. The internet has a weird hate or love mentality. You either have to be extreme on one end or not. To be honest with you, I think the game is interesting. I think the storyline has been good. I've enjoyed the game. I like the city. I like driving. I like getting on a bike and just ripping around Night City, okay? I enjoy this game. I wouldn't have put 50 plus hours into a game if I wasn't having some fucking fun with it, okay? But even with all of that said, it's simply inexcusable how the game is this buggy and this broken at launch, especially after all the crunch and delays. And I know that there's people out there who say, but Muda, all the gamers caused the delays. That's a fucking bullshit argument. They gave the dates, and from what I recall, yes, there were death threats when the game came out, but I would say that was a minority compared to a big majority of gamers who said, hey, shit, a delayed game is great forever, okay? I mean, what was that Miyamoto quote? A delayed game can end up being great. A fucking rushed game is bad forever. I kept seeing that quote over and over. It got burned into my fucking head. And that's pretty much what I saw. But when the game actually came out, yeah, it came out really buggy and it came out really broken. And you can't excuse anybody's experience. It went for some people to a 2 out of 10 when it should have really been a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. Simply because it was a broken, buggy experience. Listen, you can love the fuck out of this game. You can also wholeheartedly admit that the game was sold in a very fucking broken state. That's something that I think most people should at least acknowledge and understand. You can love this game and you can criticize it. Hey, shit, that's how life fucking works. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Cyberpunk 2077 thing, and honestly, talking about it has been pretty cathartic. Talking about it has been interesting. It's an interesting game, because never have I seen a game that deserves a chance, but a game that has done so much to fucking shoot itself in its own foot. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope CD Projekt Red patches it together. I also hope that it's not anytime soon, because the developers that worked on this game have been fucked the hardest. They worked their ass off on a game for 8 years that the management couldn't support them on, that they ended up releasing a game that ultimately wasn't up to their fucking visions. And now, most likely, they're probably getting fucking crunched to make patch number 1 and patch number 2. I would rather these patches get delayed for a while, okay? I understand that they have a time, it's very time sensitive, but these developers need a fucking break. Outsource it if you have to. But these developers need to have their pay, they need to have their chill, because management fucked up here. Everyone fucked up, but except, I would say, these developers. I bet they had a billion ideas, but they never made it to the systems. And if you ask me before we end the video, I actually personally think this game isn't even going to come back out on PS4. I feel like they're going to silently scrap this game like Dying Light. If you remember when Dying Light was coming out, it was supposed to have a PS3 360 version. Well, because those versions couldn't run properly, they just straight fucking canceled them. Like they should have. And I feel like the same situation is going to happen here. Because if you look at the earlier video that I made, they have to really restructure a shit ton of Cyberpunk in order to make it anywhere playable on those base systems. That's why I'm thinking things like the Wanted system aren't up to scratch. They probably existed in the game to begin with, but I don't think that they were running up to snuff on these base systems, and it's probably why they got removed. Honestly, I don't think this game's coming back on PS4. I think they're silently going to release it as a PS5 exclusive. I don't know what this speaks for the base Xbox One version, but maybe we'll find out more as time goes on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it. If you dislike it, I am out.